What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another Scum video. I hope we're all doing well. Ladies and gents, as always, thank you so much for all your ongoing support on the channel. Gratefully appreciated. And today, this is going to be my very first guide for 2025. Now, mistakes will probably be made in this video, guys, because I'm not perfect, but I'm going to be going over as much as I can about character creation. And this is going to be my first official guide of the year, so to speak. So this will be put in its own playlist for you guys to check out, and then you can come back and see any other videos that I'm putting in there through the days, weeks, or months as well. So go get yourself a coffee. I've got myself a coffee here, and we're going to go through as much as possible to give you guys as much information about how to create your character. Because once you do create your character, ladies and gents, you are going to be putting in hours upon hours, days, weeks, and even months into your character, and you'll always learn something, and you can go back and remake a character when server wipes and stuff like that happen as well. So here we go. I've got myself a lovely coffee. Let me just have a sip of this. Actually, need some coffee, guys. That's really nice. This is professional. Okay, so when you click create a character from the start screen, this is where you're going to be put, guys. Now, I just want to say before we get into this, every character is subjective to what skills you like, what skills you know how to level up faster, what ones take slower, and what servers you're playing on as well. If you're playing on a high PvP server, you're going to be changing and making your character very different to a character that you're going to be setting maybe on a PvE server, roleplay server. Every server is different, and guess what? Everyone's playstyle is different as well, which is really cool. Right, so let's have a little look-see. So you have your name at the top, so you can set your name here. So make sure, obviously, create your name. Right, now let's have a look at the attribute levels. Now, there are 4 attribute levels, guys, which is Strength, Constitution, Dexterity, and Intelligence. And each of these has a bunch of subcategories, which we'll get into in a moment, because I think that's on the next screen or something. So let's have a read of what Strength says here. Strength is the physical power of a person, typically measured by how much you can push, pull, or lift a physical object. It's raised by proper protein intake and executing actions under a load. Is lowered by protein deficiency and loss of muscle mass. It influences carry weight, melee damage, and calorie burning. Ranges from 1 to 5, but it can be raised to 8 with proper diet and physical activities. So what this means is, for example, let's just say we're setting our character now, and we set this to 5. So we've now set that to 5. Well, even though you can only set your strength attribute to 5 here, you can actually upgrade this. You can increase this to 8 in-game, which is ridiculous. You can knock players out with one punch. It's hilarious. So you can see that this only goes up to 5 in this area, but in-game, you can actually push that to 8 as well. And yes, of course, with these, it's going to change the way your BMI, really, your body mass index is going to change hugely on your character. As you can see here, we've got more increased weight on us and less weight there. So let's go back to 3 again. And we can go and check out the Constitution. Constitution, or body type, defines everything connected with physical endurance and stamina. Is raised by moving in general, walking, running, or swimming. Is lowered by not moving, staying still, or longer periods of time. It influences health points, stamina, damage bonus, damage and status, shock or poison, resistant immune system, calories, and water consumption efficiency. Ranges from 1 to 5. So here, ladies and gents, this is very, very well mixed in with the metabolism stuff. As it says there, this is this goes in with the health points, the stamina, the shock, the poison resistance, and immune system and stuff like that as well. So if you have a low constitution here, for example, if you have a low constitution here, you're not going to be able to increase or set your speed of your running or your endurance as well. Which we'll get on into in just a moment. So this is Constitution. It's all going to make sense, guys, at the end. Trust me. Trust me on this one. But Constitution also, if you have a low Constitution, you're going to take a lot more resources to actually heal your character using bandages and stuff like that as well. The higher Constitution, so let's just bring this down. If you have 5 Constitution, you are going to use less resources to bandage. And also at the same time, with a high Constitution, if you do get a bacterial infection or anything in the game, like I said, we'll get into this again later, what's going to happen is your body is most likely going to overcome that bacterial infection without the use of antibiotics mostly. Now, if you have a low constitution, then you're going to need every bit of help that you have, because your body's not going to be very good at healing as well. So not only does it constitute in moving in general as well, it also influences, as it says here, the health points of your character, and that's what I was talking about as well. Okay, so that's constitution. Dexterity determines how skillful you are in performing everyday and or complicated actions. Is raised by calorie deficiency, losing weight is lowered by calorie sufficiency and gaining weight. It influences movement, speed and action, including crafting, eating and reloading. Ranges from 1 to 5. So the very basics of dexterity here, guys, which you can see, is all to do with the speed of your character. That's it. That is basically the very bottom line of dexterity, is how fast. So if I have this all the way down, if I set this all this way, all the way down here, then what's going to happen is it's going to take a long time to do a certain action, right? It's going to take a long time to do a certain action. So you can see here, ignore these, if you can see my mouse, ignore the 2.0 but there, by the way, guys, okay? Because that just shows you what you have left if I decrease. So every skill is set 3, 3, 3, 3. So if I bring this down, that means I can increase this by 1. See what I'm saying? So that's why it says 2 there on the side. So if I bring my dexterity all the way down, reloading is going to be really slow. So if someone else has got a really high dexterity like this, they're probably going to win in the fight because they can reload their weapon faster. Now, if you guys are still here, appreciate your time, by the way. It's gonna be one of them videos. So yeah. So we have the dexterity. That's basically what dexterity is. Right, intelligence is a big one. Intelligence is the capability of perception and successfully performing tasks. Is raised by upgrading BCU and BCU memory modules. Is lowered by committing suicide. Is temporarily lowered by smoking weed and eating hallucinogenic mushrooms. It influences global experience gain for skills for all attributes. Squad size limit if you are the leader ranges from 1 to 5 if you can temporarily buffed to 8. So as it says there, ladies and gents, intelligence is absolutely crazy. There's so much going on here. So if you were to commit suicide, for example, in the game to try and get a better spawn, every time you commit suicide, it's going to do this. It's going to go down. It's going to go down every time you commit suicide. This is to stop players using that exploit using the suicide exploit to be able to go into another sector or spawn somewhere else. Now, if you do eat mushrooms and stuff like this, and smoke weed and stuff like that, your intelligence is also going to drop temporarily as well. Same as like when you're drunk, you know, you're gonna lose your intelligence temporarily. This also depends. So let's just bring this down. So if we got an intelligence of 5, for example, this is going to be there's so much with the intelligence. So for example, if you have 5 intelligence, you can have max amount allowed in squad. If you have minimum intelligence, 1 intelligence, you can only have like a couple of people in your squad. That is literally it. So if you're going to be squad leader, you need to have really high intelligence. Also at the same time, your resources for engineering. So if you have a higher intelligence like this, you are going to be able to use less resources with a lot of the items you're going to use. So if you're repairing your clothes with a sewing kit, you're going to use less resources of that sewing kit, less uses per sewing kit. And that also goes with the toolbox and repairing anything, vehicle repair kits with engineering, so repairing vehicles as well. So having a high intelligence is very, very important, ladies and gents. There's a lot there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, you can see the gender, so you can see different types, male or female. You can choose body hair, non-body hair for the male characters. Concealed mode I'm keeping on, ladies and gents. You can change penis size here if you wish. It's just a bit of fun, but obviously I keep my concealed mode on because YouTube does not like me to do that. So I really wish that you guys, or really hope you guys have questions or something that you might want to ask in the chat down below, because this, like I said, this is going to take some time to get through. So obviously you can see the beard, the moustache. So I'm just going to create, like, you can all the different hairstyles, by the way, and you can get the hair DLCs as well, which you can get from the Steam page, which is really cool too. So there's lots of different hairstyles that you can have. So I'm just going to keep him bald for now, and we can also give him a beard. So look, let's just keep him cool, nice and chill. Iris styles doesn't really matter too much, but you can change them if you like. So, and you can change the color of the eyes and stuff like that as well. Okay, so we're going to go to the next. Right, this is where things count. At the bottom it says name already taken, so obviously because I've got a load of single player characters, so okay, I don't know, G, whatever. So right, let's have a little look-see here at the skills. Now, don't get overwhelmed by this, right? Now, remember at the beginning, we kept our skills to 3, 3, 3, 3. In fact, I can just go back and show you. So look, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So if you're starting out on a character that you've never done before, you can always stay neutral, and then we can change these in a moment. So let's just say 3, 3, and 3. So let's go through every single skill and kind of what it implies and what's gonna happen. You can actually see on the right hand side as well, we do have some descriptions which we can go through, which is nice. They never used to have these, by the way, so you know, whoever's new to the game now is lucky to have these. Brawling is the skill of fighting with fists, feet and other body parts. It's raised by doing hand-to-hand damage to players and NPCs. It influences hand-to-hand attack speed, available combo attacks and blocking efficiency. So pretty much is what it is, guys. Brawling is basically using your fists in a fist fight. That is pretty much it. Rifles. Rifles is a skill which indicates how familiar you are with the rifles of any type, both firing them and maintaining or fixing them. Is raised by, so if you want to raise your rifle skill, is raised by shooting players and NPCs with rifles and crossbows, as well as reloading the said weapons. It influences faster reload times, faster change from position to position, readying and aiming, recoil, shooting accuracy, and rifles as well. So you can see that is what that does. So if you were to increase your rifle skill there, it will influence faster reloading time from any position, from ready aim to aim. And also the crossbows and reloading, etc. as well. So you can see that. So if you wanted to do that, you can obviously increase that as well. So melee weapons. Melee weapon is a skill that enables you to use... Oh, wait, hold on, wait. There's one thing I also want to say. With the rifles as well, it doesn't actually... Does it actually shoot... Does it actually say here, maintain or fixing them... influence position... Recoil. Yes, it did. Sorry, okay. So, the higher rifle skill you have, the less recoil you're going to have as well, which obviously gives you shooting accuracy. Melee weapons is a skill that enables you to use knives, axes, clubs, and other handheld weapons. Is raised by doing damage with said melee weapon to players, NPCs, and base building elements. It influences melee weapon attack speed, available combo attacks, and melee weapon damage. So, guys, pretty self-explanatory. If you're holding anything in your hand, that's it. That's pretty much melee at that point. Handgun skill indicates how familiar you are with handguns of any type, whether firing, maintaining, or fixing them. Is raised by shooting players, same as the rifle skills, guys. I'm not going to have to go through that again. So obviously, if you have a very high handgun, as you can see, if I set that to advanced skill, you're going to have less recoil, and you're going to be able to change fast from ready aim to aim, for example, as well. Archery. Now, this is my favorite one. So, archery is a skill that enables you to shoot with bows and arrows. Is raised by doing damage with bow and arrow to players and NPCs, and influences ability to use bows of different poundages, faster reload time, faster draw time, and hold time at full draw, faster bow tuning as well. So, faster bow tuning when you use a toolbox, you can actually adjust your poundage with the toolbox. All these are going to be in guides and stuff like that, so you can really get into this. Now, this is why Scum hits differently to games like Daisy and stuff like that. I didn't really want to mention Daisy, I'm not going to lie, but this is why it hits differently, guys. The skill system like this, just Daisy doesn't have all this. Daisy doesn't have all this. Daisy's just like, you know, everyone's character is practically the same. No one has different skills or debuffs or buffs for that character, so to speak, like this. This is why this hits different. Archery is my favorite, by the way, ladies and gents. I absolutely love it. But as you can see, there is raised by using your bow on players and NPCs and stuff as well. So, but let's go from strength. So we're going to go to the constitution skill. So running is a skill that shows how athletic you are and how proficient you are at running. Is raised by jogging or running, and it influences jogging and running speed as well. So obviously, as you can see, we only set 3 for constitution here. I've purposely left it so you can see my mouse, so you can see where the mouse cursor is. So if I did like medium running, I could do medium running, medium endurance. That would probably be the best bet here. But then again, it all depends what you guys want to do. If you're going to be driving around a lot of the time, you're probably not going to really need this that much. So let's look at endurance. Endurance is a skill that enables you to withstand pain by conserving strength and energy. It is raised by moving under a weight load. It influences stamina, recovery rate, energy, and water consumption rates as well. So if you really want to sort of like, jogging is kind of how fast you can run. Right, obviously it's a running skill, so that's how fast you can run. So if you have that all the way to advanced, you're going to be able to run out of an area very quickly and just kind of disappear from the fight, for example. Whereas if your endurance, if your running is high but your endurance is low, then you're not going to be able to run for that long, that amount of time as well, especially under load and carrying weight and stuff. So heavy weapons, by the way, and strength, that's not in the game yet, as you can see. And there are other, I just want to go, before we have a look at dexterity and intelligence skills, you can see the sailing and climbing. These aren't in the game yet. And under intelligence, programming, electronics, biochemistry, education, psychology, animal handling, and tactics. I don't even know if them ones are staying in the game yet. We'll have to wait because the game is still in development and 1.0 is not here yet. So let's have a look at dexterity. So these are the dexterity skills. Thievery is a skill that determines how well you can pick locks. It is raised by lock picking in general, both successfully and unsuccessfully. So even if you are unsuccessful, you'll still get points in it. It influences time available per lock picking attempt and level of pressure applied before the lock pick breaks. So the higher you have, let's say you go for advanced, obviously you're going to apply less pressure, which basically means you're not going to break so many locks while doing it. And also at the same time, you can see is influences by the time. So if I set advanced thievery, I'm going to get an extra second. I'm pretty sure it gives you like an extra second, the same as demolition, but we'll get onto that in a minute. So that's basically the thievery skill. Really, really cool skill if you're into raiding and all that sort of stuff. So I need some of my coffee. My coffee's going cold here. I told you we're going to be here for a while, guys. How long we've been here for? About 16 minutes now. This is going to take a long time to render tonight. Okay, so we're going to have a little look-see at the driving skill. Driving is a skill that enables you to drive ground vehicles with 4 or more wheels, as well as those with tracks and hovercraft. We don't have a hovercraft right now, which is cool though. It is raised by driving for an extended amount of time. It influences vehicle stalling frequency and maximum attainable speed, acceleration, and steering. Now, I'll be honest with you, ladies and gents, maximum attainable speed I don't find makes a big difference because I haven't put anything into driving, but my max speed is really fast. But what I have noticed that it does do, as it says here, it influences stalling. And if you're getting in a car to start your car and drive away and you've got puppets chasing you, this is going to be an issue. So, like I said, if you're going to be the driver, so if you've got 5 or 6 people, even 10 people in a squad, everyone should really have different skills to, you know, like a squad, like an actual military unit. Demolition. So this was quite similar to thievery in that respect, because when you do demolition, you need to have max demolition like this, and then you get an extra second to defuse bombs. Anyway, let's read the synopsis of it, the description. Demolition is a skill that indicates how knowledgeable you are about the use of explosives. It's raised by arming and disarming explosives and practice traps. It influences a number of materials needed for crafting explosives. So obviously, if you have a high demolition like this, you're going to need less resources to create that as well. So it influences the number of materials needed for crafting explosive defuse time. As I said before, it gives you an extra second. Defuse attempts, quality of armed explosives, explosive damage, trigger radius, and unlocks crafting recipes as well. So if you do have a high demolition, you are going to actually have a wider radius of being able to expel to give damage to the actual players or area that you've done this in as well. So that's why it gives you the quality of the explosive. If you do it all the way down to no skill, then your bomb's going to be pretty crap, basically. That's what it's saying. Right, so motorcycling. Motorcycling is a skill that enables you to drive around vehicles with 2 or 3 wheels. Is raised by driving for an extended amount of time. It influences vehicle stalling frequency. Same thing with this. It's exactly like the car, ladies and gents. It's like the driving. Same with the driving. It does the same with the bikes as well. So obviously, if you have a low skill, it's going to take ages to start the bike and get things going. High advanced, everything's just going to work better. Okay, so we're going to look at stealth here. Stealth is a skill of moving cautiously, silently, and slowly to prevent others from hearing you. It is raised by moving while in crouch or prone position, and it influences sound produced while moving as well. So stealth, if you was to just crouch in the game, press C, right? You just crouch and move around. Then you go and have a little look see at some of your skills. So if you hover over the stealth skill, you'll notice that your stealth is actually going to go up as well. And we'll get into that. Something similar to camouflage, which does when you're hiding in foliage and stuff like that, which we'll get to in a minute. So that's basically what stealth does. Aviation, also, it's very quiet, by the way. So it does prevent others from hearing you too. And puppets from what I see as well. So stealth is a big one. Stealth is a big one. If you want less puppets and less aggro from players hearing you doing things and stuff like that, and you can be a lot sneakier, then go for stealth. So aviation. Aviation is the activities surrounding mechanical flight in the aircraft industry. Aircraft includes fixed wing and rotary wing types. Morphable wings, wingless lifting bodies, as well as lighter than aircraft, such as hot air balloons and airships. Well, we don't have any of that in Scum. All we have is aircraft, ladies and gents. And this doesn't really tell us what this skill actually does for aviation. I'm not gonna lie. It actually says aircraft includes fixed wing. It just says aviation is the activities surrounding mechanical flight in the aircraft industry. I don't really know what the advanced does, because it doesn't exactly say what this skill does. It just gives us, you know, an overview of different types of aircraft and types of fixed wing flight, fixed wing aviation stuff. So I can't really tell you on that one. It's not really giving us a good explanation, and I do like flying in the game. I'm wondering if it's got anything to do with how fast it can take off, but even then, I don't think that's the case. So I'm not going to BS in any way, shape, or form on that one. If anyone knows what aviation actually does, because it doesn't actually say what that skill does. Sailing and climbing obviously isn't in the game right now. Aviation is not one you really want to worry about, ladies and gents. Like, it's very rarely used. Right, the awareness. Awareness is a skill that enables you to notice or be aware of clues, items, camouflaged enemies, and other things. Is raised by exploring the island. So awareness, anything that appears in your vicinity. So let's just say this for an example. Let's say someone's just killed a puppet, your friend's killed a puppet, and that person, your squad mate or whatever, has stripped that puppet clean and chopped it up. When you run over to that vicinity, your character is going to go up in awareness. Anything that is around you that you can physically see, that is an item, will up your awareness. So awareness will go up. So for example, if you sit there and just chop sticks, and then you have loads of sticks in your vicinity, that's going to push your awareness up as well. So yes, there is something to do. There is something with the awareness and camouflage. In fact, let's just jump to camouflage, and then I'm going to give you guys, because these two are sort of connected in a weird way. Camouflage is a skill of self-disguise and making yourself invisible to others. Is raised by hiding in foliage, and it influences visibility to other players and NPCs. So with the camouflage skill, if you have an advanced camouflage skill and your awareness is where it is there, no skill, you can actually hide in bushes. If you don't move and that player is within, I think it's outside of a 50-meter radius of that bush from where you sat still, you turn invisible. I'm not a big fan of this skill. You basically turn invisible with a high camouflage. Now, if your camouflage was like, let's say, basic, and someone else's awareness was medium, you're not going to be invisible in that bush. People are going to see you. So this is a big one. So in terms of PvP, this is a big one. A lot of PvP players will use the camouflage skill. So if you have a higher awareness and someone has a low camo, you're going to see them in the bushes. If you have a low awareness and they've got a higher camo, guess what? Your awareness is crap. You're not going to be able to see them. So that's how the awareness skill works as well. Sniping. Sniping is a skill that indicates how well you aim through scopes and how knowledgeable you are about wind speeds and determining range. Is raised by shooting from weapons that have scopes attached to them. It influences range, check speed, and ability to hold breath. So as you can see, sniping does that. And I've got all the secret control videos and control videos where you can look through scopes and you can do windage. I've got windage videos, ranges and stuff like this. So anything that if you shoot through the scope, that's going to get you your sniping skill up. Survival skill. Now, survival skill is a big one. I always have my survival skill here, right? I always have my... I'll let you know what my settings are after. I'm going to let you know what I set my characters to. So survival is a skill that indicates how well you're able to survive in the world. It's raised by crafting related items. It influences number of materials needed for crafting items, compass complexity, and unlocks crafting recipes. So as it says, ladies and gents, it influences the number of materials needed for crafting items. So if you have a high survival, you're going to be able to craft things that aren't going to be needed. You're going to be able to craft certain items or all the craftable items, and you're not going to need that much resources to craft them. If you have a low survival, it's going to take absolutely forever to do that. If you have a basic or no skill survival, you're not going to get any compass readings. At basic, you're going to get north. Medium, like this, you're then going to get all of them. I might be wrong about the no skill one. I do apologize. But when you go to medium skill survival, at this point, you get all the 4 points. North, south, east, and west, which is really, really handy when you go into focus mode. So survival is a huge one. I always have it at least medium, so I got all the 4 points of the compass. Cooking skill. Cooking is a skill that enables you to create delicious and nutritious meals. It is raised by cooking meals, and it influences meal cooking times as well. So where the cooking skill is, ladies and gents, if you want to get your skill up, put as many ingredients into that food point as possible. And make sure that you take it off a few seconds, maybe 10. When the line goes green, when the bar goes green in cooking, then you can kind of sort of cancel it, take the food off. The food's already cooked at that point. Cooking is its own thing. That's going to need its own separate video at some point as well, same as all the other ones as well. So engineering and cooking is a big one, by the way. Cooking is, but just remember this: if you want to get your cooking skill up, just make sure to put as many ingredients into the recipes and all that sort of stuff, like the slots where it enables you to put everything. Just make sure you put as many in there as possible. Engineering is a skill that enables you to build various constructions and craft various items. It's raised by crafting and upgrading base building elements, repairing base building elements and other items, and fixing vehicle tires. It influences number of materials needed for base building elements, repairing quality, charging, and fueling speed. So remember what I said earlier on, guys, with the engineering. Engineering is fixing and repairing. So look at that, fixing and repairing, and obviously base building. So you need less elements or less resources to put into your base building. So for example, if I have a low engineering and I have a wall and it wants 10 sticks, it wants 20 sticks and 20 planks. Now if I have a high engineering, it's not going to need 20 sticks or 20 planks, because now I'm advanced engineer. My knowledge is better, so I can do it more efficiently. I'm now going to probably use 10 sticks and 10 planks. Trust me, having a high engineering is going to save you hours of base building, because you're going to use more resources and you've got to do more work, basically. So the engineering is huge, and that's for also repairing clothes. Well, like I said before about the engineering stuff and everything as well. Medical skill indicates how proficient you are at treating injuries, is raised by treating conditions and injuries, and it influences stabilization time, number of required items for successful treatment, chances to successfully upgrade a BCU chip. So let's quickly go through this one, because the medical one is a bit of a cool one, actually. It is really cool. So it influences stabilization time. So the higher medical you are, you're going to stabilize and go into recovery a lot faster than you would if you had a lower medical skill as well. Now, it also influences required items. So if you have a low medical skill, for example, when I have a C4 injury, I'm going to use something like 6 rags. Whereas if I had an advanced, I'm only going to need 1 rag. So this skill here is perfect, not only for PvP, but for also those abandoned bunkers with those horrible razors. You know, those horrible razor creatures. So medical is a very big one here. Now in abandoned bunkers, we was talking about the BCU memory modules. So this is what the BCU chip is. So in the game, obviously, once you go into the game, you couldn't really increase your intelligence before. Now you can. So your intelligence skill now can be increased by getting memory modules and charging them in the abandoned bunkers, which is very risky. Now, what you do once you charge all of them, and it takes quite a while to do, once you've charged all your memory modules, you can then install it into your own brain, right? Which makes your intelligence go up. So, because don't forget, they did mention in this game about biomechanical engineering and stuff, and I've got a feeling that we're going to have a lot more of this stuff coming. Now, when you install that into your brain and your intelligence goes up, it doesn't always work. Now, if you have an advanced medical, right, you are now more proficient at doing medical things. So you have got a pretty much almost I think it's like pretty much at advanced, you've got like 100% chance at getting it right, and it's successfully being implanted in your mind. In your brain, if you do it with a no skill, then you are going to have to take that memory module and take it to a medical trader. Go to the medical guy, and pay him $5 grand to install it for you, because you don't have the skill to do it. So there's so much to this game already, and like, you know, it's insane. It's really cool. So that's the medical there pretty much. Right, so let's have a look at farming. So farming is a skill that defines how good someone is at growing plants. It's raised by crafting a garden, planting, fertilizing, watering, weeding, and taking care of pests. It influences the amount of harvestable produce, speed of each farming interaction, like planting, weeding, or watering. Now, planting will have to be really its own video, its own guide, because there's a lot to this, and right now I think there's a few bugs with farming. Which there's always bugs with most things, ladies and gents. So where are we right now? We're looking at 30 minutes. Okay, so that's a little bit... I actually thought it would be a lot longer than this. I'm going to go back. So we've gone through a lot of the skills. Right, I'm going to tell you what I set my characters to. I'm going to set mine to 1.5 and 1.5. After a couple of weeks, you can get... wait, if I set this to 4.5... 4.5... and 4.5 here. So this is what I set my characters to, because I'm not going in for the PvP. Like, I mean, I can do PvP, but I'm not going in for a PvP character, so to speak. So I want a high strength and I want high intelligence for a couple of reasons. So let's go start setting our characters' skills. So I want high archery, advanced archery, because we are going to be killing a lot of puppets. On my servers, the puppets are a big problem. So now this gives me an option to set maybe medium rifles, which is what I would probably do. I would probably set that to medium rifles. So that's what I would do for the strength skills. Obviously, I can't do any more. I can only set that to basic. Now, if you wanted to, though, you could set this to basic and then that to basic. And then maybe a little bit, maybe 3 in brawling or something, which is probably a good idea because you've got the skills started on those. But you can put these skills up in game yourself. You can increase these. It doesn't matter. So if I set rifles and I've got no more skills in brawling, then all I've got to do is use my handgun or my brawling to get those skills up. So whatever skill you're not doing, do those, so to speak. So you can see here my running skill, and I've got medium endurance. Now I would set medium running and my endurance and stuff will go up anyway, as well as my running skill, which you can see here. Now, I mean, obviously you can see this is very dependent on the character's weight as well, but you can lose that in game, guys, by eating the right things. Personally here with my dexterity, I would set my stealth to medium because I can get my stealth up quite quick in game, like I said, just by literally creeping and crawling. And if you want to get your camo skill up, you just sit in a bush, pretty much. Like it's raised by hiding in foliage. Now what I would do here is I would max out my engineering. Now it's only going to give me about half survival, and that's literally it. That is literally it. So these are the skills that I would use, but it also depends. Awareness will go up slowly and over time, right? But I'm getting my core skills up that I want. So if I want to be a base builder, engineering is great. If I want to be great at repairing, is great. Survival, I can craft a load of things. That's not an issue. Stealth is great. Archery and stuff like that as well. You can do all sorts of different types. Like I said, you don't have to do, like if I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to do a PvP build or something like that. Let's look. So a PvP build, you don't want to be a larger character. You want to kind of have some constitution. So if I set 2.5, 3.1 for constitution, for example. I know these are actually a little bit all over the place, but you want to have good constitution. So for example, running, have a bit of endurance as well. You can have that. Or if you want advanced rifles, that's going to be great. So you're going to be fast. You got advanced rifles, and then you can set camouflage if you really wanted to in intelligence now, so you can hide in bushes more. There is so many different ways. I mean, you could really push the boundaries here. You don't even need to have, like, you could have 3 strength, for example. Constitution, intelligence could even be down to 1. So your dexterity is way higher. See what I'm saying? Look, so your intelligence is 1, guys. So watch this. My running and endurance. Okay. Okay, maybe not. No, wait, my dexterity. Yeah, my dexterity is... Oh, no. My bad. Wrong one. So, for example, there you go. Running and endurance. That would be amazing in a PvP situation. And having rifles advanced as well. That would be perfect. And then having stealth, medium, and maybe obviously camouflage. You can only have that as basic there. So if I wanted to have higher camo, I'd have to just change it at some point. It doesn't really matter. You can maybe take strength down, maybe put the intelligence up like that, and then you can have more camo. See what I'm saying? So you can just test it, do whatever you want. Like, everyone's character is different. I set my skills personally on my character, ladies and gents, because I know how to get other skills up faster in game. So if you want a PvP setup, you need to have your running advanced at least, and you need your rifles to be advanced here. And I would probably look at stealth in dexterity or camouflage. If you want to be doing something like farming, you want to be a PvE player, then I'd probably set something like, you don't really need a lot of running. Dexterity, you ain't going to really need a lot of that. I would say 5 intelligence. Maybe even, like I'm saying, look, I'm going back to my character again. I'm going back to my character, almost. You know, you want advanced survival, actually, I'd probably go with advanced engineering, advanced survival, or medium survival. That way you can build and repair, and then your survival will go up as you're building and stuff, and everything else as well. Stealth again, aviation, I wouldn't do aviation, wouldn't bother with that. Thievery, maybe just throw something in there. Archery is obviously my favorite one, because I'm going to be using that all the time for puppets and stuff. And yeah, you can basically do whatever you want. I'm not sitting here showing you exact builds. I'm just kind of showing you what you can do to really, like, you put this one down, that one up, this one down. It's all experimentation for what you want to do as a player. You know, all the skills are there for what you can do. So there's a lot going on here. I'm not here to do specific builds. I'm here to show you what each skill does, basically. So, ladies and gents, it has been 36 minutes. This is going to be one of my longest videos so far, but this is going to be the first video of the real first guide of 2025, I think. So let us know. Let us know. There's so much to talk about here. There's so much I haven't spoken about here, and so much going on with the skill selection. And don't forget, guys, it doesn't matter what you select here. You can get a lot of the skills up in game. And that is the most important thing. And you are going to learn as you grow with the game as well, and grow over time. So you're going to have a lot of fun, guys. Don't get too overwhelmed by it. Trust me, it's not as hard as it looks. Right, ladies and gents, we're about 40 minutes in or so. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for your support on the channel. If you did get anything from this, or it has given you any form of confidence to create a character and jump in, then please feel free to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are on our road to 64,000 subscribers, which is just mental. So thank you to everyone for that as well. Also, I'm sponsored by GG Host, so if you do want to rent yourself out a server, not necessarily for Scum, but there's loads of other games out there, guys. Valheim, V Rising, Scum, Ark, Daisy, loads more. Then be sure to go and check out all the games and use my affiliate link down below to get 50% off your first month as well. Their performance and their support is awesome. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get back to your day. Enjoy, and please don't forget to leave a comment down below. Take care, guys. All the best.